3.
We're live now. Don't miss the score. Join the build to something smarter than before. Not just points, it's aligned and clear. Better leads, better teams right here. It's Lead Score Monday, you know the vibe. Fixing what's broken, bringing it to life. Showdown stabs and quick fix flair. Casey's in the hot seat. See you there.
On the road to better scores, let's build what actually opens the door. On the road to better scores, let's build what actually opens the door.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Lead Scoring Mondays. I'm Casey Hawkins, and this is the Lead Scoring Lab, where we'll tackle the real messy, often head-scratching lead scoring challenges that pop up when you go beyond the basics. Today's session is especially relevant if your business sells more than one thing, different products, different audiences, maybe even different sales cycles, because if you've ever tried to make one lead score work across that complexity, you know it breaks fast. That's why I asked Zoe, did I get that right? Great. To join me in the lab today. Zoe has been doing some incredible scoring work with clients juggling multiple products, go-to-markets, and I knew we had to talk through this live. We're going to be diving into when one score isn't enough and what to do about it, how to segment your scoring by ICP and sales cycles, what it actually takes to align a team on what matters, plus the frameworks that you can take home with you. So welcome to the lab. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself and the kind of work you've been doing.
Hey, so I'm Zoe Brennan. I work at a HubSpot Platinum agency, and we work with wealth managers and financial advisors. My background's actually in media and content marketing and Morning Brew, at Industry Dive, Forbes, and The Economist. So it's a little bit of a departure, but I'm really enjoying it. Again, my day-to-day is HubSpot onboarding, pitching HubSpot, and then, of course, implementing it. And a big part of that is lead scoring, because that's really important to measure your demand gen and lead gen efforts.
Awesome. And I know you've been doing a lot of scoring projects, especially leading up to the sunset.
So much. I have 4 more in the hopper, so as I speak. So much. Sorry for rolling my eyes. I'm like, one's a unique snowflake too.
When we chatted about this earlier in the week, or last week, there's no earlier in the week than Monday. When we chatted about this, there were a ton of different topics that we could have gone into, but we landed on this, talking about how to score based on different products. What complexities have you seen? How have you seen this show up in businesses you're working with?
It's interesting because it's not in too many businesses, because again, we focus on wealth managers, financial advisors. In this case, it's a CRM. And like HubSpot, they're going after different demographics, and they have different products for each demographic. So they have an enterprise product, they have a product that's good for everyone, and they have a product that's good for smaller teams. And then I'm going to all these lead scoring webinars and on-demand items, and they weren't talking about multiple products. So when we were talking about it, like, yeah, we don't see that discussed often. And again, it's unique, but now that I've been practicing and working with it and watching it and optimizing as needed, I feel like I have a better grasp on it. I wouldn't say it's perfect. Lead scoring is such an imperfect science, right? I think that's so important for people to understand.
Yes.
We don't talk about it that much. We talk about, you need to review it, but we don't talk about it's never going to be perfect out the gate. I think it's so important to tell sales teams and leadership, like, yes, we're fixing it. Like, why is this showing up? Okay, yeah, we'll go optimize it.
Yeah.
Because again, it's an imperfect science.
Yeah, I say this all the time. I'm like, you need to revisit your scores. Like, this isn't something that you just do one time and then you just move on. These really are things that you're revisiting again and again.
With my clients, they're required, and I have to do this later for someone else, we send an email when the score reaches A2 or A1, and we send this notification to the sales rep, we CC leadership. It's like, hey, accept, review this lead, accept or reject. So there's very little room for error, because they're going to hop on it right away and be like, oh, this is wrong. And if they accept it, they have to manually set the leads to SQL. And it's too bad that there's no automatic way to just press a button and set it to SQL. They actually need to manually do it. But then at least if
Yeah.
your lead scoring worked.
Yes. Yeah.
No room for error over there, because sales team are, they'll be like, yeah, this was not right. And then you have to go review the score and like what made it wrong. Why
Yeah.
was it not accepted?
So when you work with teams that are selling these multiple products, is that what you run into, that you start getting these contacts through that either aren't qualified because they met one product's criteria, but really they're a better fit for another? Or are people falling through the cracks because the score is not supporting multiple products?
We've segmented very carefully based off a list. The lists are so important. There's actually no other way I found to do it based on that. And then in the workflow, it's like, hey, if they're a member of this list and they reach this particular threshold of A2, A1, then send it to this person. So it's very carefully based on that list. So if we haven't seen a situation where it's gone to the wrong person. On the other hand, and this is interesting, we haven't actually reached a person who's an A2. So the one thing the lead scoring did uncover is like you have a vast majority of people who match your ICP, they're actually not engaged. And that was really interesting.
Yeah, and when you say A1 and A2, can you explain that a little bit? Those are your engagements, right?
Yeah, I can show you. Let's go into it. I prepared a little something. I think the visuals are much easier to show. So let me show you.
Yeah. I'm a visual learner too, so.
And it's so important, right? So I'm going to show you just some slides I made. So this is the dashboard I set up for clients. And I basically, here on the left-hand side is how to interpret these scores. HubSpot, as we know, unveiled this, as I call, lead categorization back in September of last year, actually in the fall. And it's been a really good learning process. However, the way they dumped it on everyone was not so helpful. And then, so I had to go and learn and all of it. But it's so much easier than the old school, like 1 to 100. So basically, the letters correspond to your ICP, A to C, and then the numbers 1, 2, 3 represent the level of engagement. So in this case, on the left-hand side, you can see I have 30 people for this one product that are A3, meaning they are the ICP, they meet the ICP criteria rather, but they're not engaging. So I was like, okay. And this was really interesting. And everyone's like, why aren't they engaging? I think we need to nurture them maybe in a different way because we as marketers become so, I don't want to say lazy. It's just like, we're trying to reach a vast universe of people. So we are just praying and praying, but there is an opportunity here to bring them somehow deeper into the funnel or create something really interesting and engaging for them. Maybe, I'm not sure, maybe a webinar targeted to them. You have so many great mysteries to uncover here, but as far as I'm concerned, this is like the number one mystery. You have this many people, you have 30 people. It's not a cheap product.
Yeah.
But these 30 people are one deal out of this is a huge difference.
Yeah. 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 And that, I think that A3 bucket is like such an important, I mean, that's marketing. That's where marketing's focus often should be.
I think the C3, I think we negate the C3, C2, or maybe B2, C2. I was just talking about it with someone, and I can show my screen for that. It's like we did this particular lead scoring for 3 different products. And then during that process, we're like, well, you have a vast universe of C3. Look at that, 40,000 people. This particular HubSpot has crazy number, I think 100,000 something contacts. C3 doesn't necessarily mean they're not your ideal customer. It means you don't have enough data. So we went to make yet another lead score that I can show. Is like, this is the vast universe of people who may be your ideal customer profile. You just don't have enough data on them.
Yeah. And then there's a whole strategy around getting that data and how to get that reliably. Reliably is always like the keyword I use because often I think people are like, okay, we need the data. Let's just go to Zoom Info. Let's just import data, and that is not always the most reliable. It depends on your industry, it depends on your audience, but definitely
We
can
use discovery data. I agree. It's not, again, it goes back to the imperfect science.
Mhm.
It's still better than nothing. And I love HubSpot and I appreciate what they're doing with Breeze. But there's, again, like you said, the industry level data that's going to come from, like, we use Fintrix. Fintrix has been really helpful because what we're looking at is things like AUM, which is the amount of money generated by a firm. Because we're focusing on financial advisors and wealth managers, it's really important to understand how much money are they generating. And then there's like things called custodians. Like, those are basically the systems like Charles Schwab and Fidelity, where financial advisors manage their clients' money. And for this particular product, it's a CRM, and the different layers of CRM. So they're going for the enterprise. Again, they're going for the enterprise customer, which is a longer sales cycle. It's 2 years, maybe. They're looking for just a general CRM for a financial advisor looking for sales. That can be anywhere from 6 months to a year and a half, again, depending on your AUM, depending on how many people you have in the firm. So it's interesting. It's kind of like a HubSpot for financial advisors. But the marketing teams love HubSpot, so they're in HubSpot. But the financial advisor is looking for a CRM that meets their needs. So it's interesting.
And just so I'm clear, so this is your, matrix. It shows whether they're a fit and things. Those 40,000 people, that's a list. So that's already a segmented part of your database that you're saying is a better fit for
No, this score, and I can show you, it's based off of a list. It's actually this one. This particular product doesn't have a list of itself because the vast majority of people in HubSpot, in their portal, are like, this is the universe of people. What we did is we excluded, in this case, list of companies that the enterprise team is going after. And that's about it. Because the smaller product is an overlay for this particular product. It's also like, and in that case, let me see if I can show you. It's like, oops, I'm like doing this. Okay, there we go. It is interesting. I just wanted to show you what that looks like. So we have it's quite a few. Hold on. We have quite a few scores.
Okay.
In this particular case, the score is just, if you go in, and I have it in the report settings, is just particularly of this score.
Okay.
So, yeah. Sorry, it was a long weekend. Right, let me show you this particular one. Share screen.
There you go.
Aha, here we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Actually, I turned one off. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The reason why I turned the one off is because we were going to go after deals that are closed, lost, or were who ghosted us, or who just haven't really been nurtured. And then we realized that, well, instead of that, why don't we again look at the vast universe of people who we do not have enough details about.
Yes.
That's right. So in this case, let's see, and also interestingly enough, the sales team for this particular product goes after the company, not the contact, which was even more interesting. So I don't know if you can see my screen, but this is the potential universe.
Okay.
So, you can't see it. Okay.
Oh, there you go.
So this is interesting. And the reason why I bring this up is because we shouldn't negate the C3, which is, hey, these people are not my ideal customer. They might be. And that's the beauty of lead scoring. It shows you, and in particular in the A through C categories, C is not supposed to be an ideal customer, but again, you might have people there you just need more data on. So in this case, and I use 1 to 500. And the reason why I use up to 500 is you have more room to play with. Like if you did a 1 to 100, which is the conventional thinking, you kind of get stuck in these lower numbers. And it's kind of discouraging that you don't see people going through the funnel. So that's why I use up to 500, because you can really play around with it. and then you can see people progress, which is very nice. In this case, the green here is 350 to 500. That means I don't have, these are the people, and I have 8,000 leads in here that could be a potential fit. I'm not too worried about this one. And then the red one is like, oh yeah, I have an update on that. So it's interesting because now I have to do it backwards here. Because if you go to the A to, again, let's go back here. Again, C is not your ideal customer profile, but in this case, I did do it as like, they could potentially be a good customer.
Yeah. How do you, like, is there a way that you're segmenting people out who are not good, that you have the data on and you know that they're not good fits, or do they just sit in that bucket?
No, it's funny because in the marketing team, we asked them to put them in the blacklist.
Yes.
Everyone can have a different list. That's the only way we can exclude people. And each product has their own list of people who are not a good fit. So they're easily able to exclude. So basically, lists are your best friend when you're doing product or your product lead scoring. And this is so important.
Yeah.
For example, for certain products, you have to also exclude people that are in the list because, and say the enterprise team's going after them.
Yeah.
That's a bigger deal value. Yeah. So we're going to have to exclude them from the other products.
That brings up another question I had is, how do you handle that overlap? If they're on the enterprise team list and they're on a lower tier list, does enterprise just take priority, or you're using lists to play? So
we just use a list. Yes, we use lists extensively. And we also in the reporting exclude. So basically for each team, we've also set up different views. So they don't get every single lead score on the right-hand side, which happens when you have multiple products. So it's so important to set up a custom view in the contact record and the company record, because we're also scoring off of companies, particularly in enterprise. So yes, it's lists, filters, and then the views. Because sales teams are not excited to see multiple scores on the right-hand side.
Yes, you only want the score. So what does that process look like, getting the sales and marketing teams aligned, especially on multiple scores? Like, I feel like a lot of teams have trouble getting the teams aligned on one score.
You can't, and I think that's really important. It's like you shouldn't. So I'll show you a slide. So these are the questions we went to. So I didn't know this business. Again, we're a partner agency. I am not like in the day-to-day.
Yes.
So we had a meeting. And it was super helpful for the marketing team to understand also, because they were new, to go into every single sales team and ask the questions like, how long is the sales cycle? What are the typical behaviors that indicate high buying intent? And it was different from team to team. For example, one team told me that, do you see my screen or no?
No, sorry. There you go. Sorry.
There we go.
That was my bad.
No worries. So these are some questions I ask all the time and they varied from team to team. And it was so interesting to me. Like for one team, webinars are really important. They found that super important. And then for the enterprise team, like, it was meetings and sales calls. So we actually do work in the sales functions here. Like this, are they in the sequence? How many meetings have they took? How many calls? For one product, it was 4 to 6 meetings. And then for another product, it was like 8. And I was like, oh my God. But then the sales cycle is 2 years.
I was going to say, but that makes sense. Like, and even like the larger contracts or the enterprise contracts, like seeing if webinars don't matter, that kind of makes sense, because like the purchase is in theory bigger, like that whole behavior is different. So if they attended a webinar, like you might not care as much. Versus
whining and dining was important. 100%. Whining and dining was important. So sales teams have to track what events they're going to. So that bucket was larger for us for enterprise. Like when you create the score, you bucket. You can now adjust how much. Like for example, a bucket is live events, and it's in-person events. So that particular score for enterprise was 100 points, and that was high. But the whining and dining is so important for that particular sales team that it was lower. I did I think 60 for another product, and then for the product that's an add-on, it's like you got 20. You are lucky if they showed up to an event. From a company perspective, you're not getting that big a budget for live events, for in-person events, and that was fair. It was a small sales cycle, 6 months.
how do you have custom life cycle stages or a different process to track between those different sales cycles? All right.
Interesting. This is I when possible and always advise my clients stick to what HubSpot has. Like this is really important. And I use this to I have like this sheet. I think HubSpot actually created it. I modified it. It's like, hey, these are the HubSpot life cycles. For us, we exclude subscriber. It's like very unhelpful. So we do lead, and then we either completely in this particular product we agreed collectively like let's get rid of marketing engagement. That's not helpful. So everyone's a potential lead unless they're excluded, and then we jump in MQL and SQL. So that's basic. We don't do custom life cycles. I mean, we have a lot of others. For example, evangelist is not super helpful, but then we have centers of influence, and we exclude those people. We have others like their partners, the vendors, whatever they are. So those are the additional life cycles. But for marketing purposes, we either do lead, exclude subscriber, or change subscriber to lead, and then make it an MEL or exclude altogether.
And then you just use a list or something to show which bucket they're in, whether they're enterprise, whether they're one of your add-ons.
Yeah.
But everybody's still like, even a short term, one of those 6-month buying cycles, it's still an MQL. It's just going to move faster through those.
Yeah, exactly. And this is just a little bit to show you the different buckets we have. This is explicit data, for example. And let me see. Yeah. So this is the explicit data. And then in this case, it's 18 months. So we're able, the decay, for example, for emails, et cetera, I think we did every 2 to 3 months. Your decay is faster for the 6-month product. It was like each month, it would decay by 10%.
Okay.
And in this case, we have it decaying every 2 to 3 months. I forget what exactly, like 20%. So the decay has to be also factored in. Again, this is an imperfect science. If you're good at math, you're going to excel at this. I am not, so I'm a little slower on it. But you should also segment, you should also look at your decaying accordingly based on your sales cycle. So it all goes back to a sales cycle.
Yeah.
And the more data you have, the better your ICP will be always.
Yeah.
For a new product, we were having tough time because it was a new product. So they didn't know what's going to work or not. But we're getting better at it as they get more data, as they get, their product sales team understands. Oh yeah, these are the things that convert people.
And to make sure that the reps know which score to pay attention to, that's where you use those custom views, and you only show the views.
In all fairness, they're not paying attention. The marketing team is paying attention. They're paying attention to the notification they get. Like, hey, this particular person has MQL, accept or reject. Very simple. You set it to SQL. If not, they go back to marketing. Basically, they're not accepted. So then we just look at the lead scoring, and we're like, okay, let's lower the thresholds, or let's increase the threshold for engagement. We increased it, and we then worked. So we increased the threshold. So you have to look at the score thresholds very carefully, and we increased that. So you have more time to nurture and engage those people. Like we have to do a better job, basically.
Yes.
Engaging those people.
Yeah, that makes sense. Makes sense.
Does it? It's still imperfect science.
It is. I always say, and how often do you recommend people revisit these scores?
Oh, every month.
Every month.
You're going to hear very fast from the sales team. But our scores also, in this particular case, the score is a mix of sales activities and marketing activities. It's easier, I think, if you're a marketing person and you are like, okay, we're going to hand you MQL, and then you can accept or reject it. Basically, yes, this person reaches MQL status, we send it over to sales, you accept or reject. It's that's going to be easier to refine versus having a mixture of sales and marketing activities. Because then you could be like, sales, hey, so you're telling us that it takes 3 meetings to convert. Doesn't seem like it. I think we need 4. It's a little easier then. So that's why we have 2 different scores. We have score like that's including sales activity, and then we have another score that's looking at people who are just we are their MQL, and then we're sending them over to sales, like your cold lead, so to speak.
Yeah, I think that's true, and I think
There's so
sometimes
many
that
scores.
feedback is a little quick.
Correct. But at least you know what to do. It's like, why isn't it your ICP? It's the ICP is an engagement. They weren't ready to buy. So
Mhm.
that just means you need more data from the person. And that would
Mhm.
be easy to send them to a webinar and ask a qualifying question like, so what is your current CRM contract for this particular product?
Mhm.
Because you have to, like HubSpot, like Salesforce, are you at the end? How far are you in your contract? When is it expiring? Because you need that time to move people over to. So at least with HubSpot, I know how this works. So I can also go to the other CRMs and be like, with fintech, like we have a advisor meeting technology, that's easier. Like you can get out of your contract pretty fast.
Yeah. Um, for someone that's starting today, their lead scoring sunset is coming up. It's a month and 10 days away as of today
You're
till
not counting the days at all. Look at
I'm
you.
not. Yeah, what does that make it? It's like they're 42 days away.
That's before inbound, when they're going to probably unveil a whole lead scoring session, which I appreciate
Yeah.
because I don't
Uh,
think I've gotten the full hang of it, but definitely better. Knock on wood.
for someone that is today rebuilding their scores and they have multiple products, they need multiple lead scores. Do you have any recommendations where they should start? Any tips to get them ahead?
Yeah, I remember we had different scores in the old legacy scoring situation, and it's not going to be any different. The only difference is here you're going to make lists. You're going to have to make lists, and you're going to have to use some kind of custom property or identifier to be like. So when you do the filtering and the reports, it's very clear. Like for this particular product, this is the score, and it's easier to set up your reporting accordingly when you have a custom property that identifies the product. For the actual scoring, it'll be off the list. And this is how you can really simplify it. The sales teams don't care what happens on the back end, so you're all good there. It's really going to be just monitoring and making sure the notifications go to the right people based on that custom property, and that your scoring is off the list, the right list.
Yes.
Very, very important.
Very important.
Yeah, but it's easier than you think.
Yeah. All right.
It's just set up as a pain. Setup will take you a while, but it's going to be easy peasy after that.
After that.
After that.
Well, this was such a helpful and real conversation. I love how you broke down the process and showed us that the solution isn't just about getting all the scoring, it's also getting the information and the segmentation. Thank you for bringing your framework
You're
and
very
your
welcome.
insights here to the lab. For everyone watching, if the session sparked an idea or panic about your own lead scoring setup, especially if you're managing multiple products, you're not alone. That's exactly the kind of challenge we love solving here. You can catch past sessions and frameworks over at caseycohub.com/score. I've archived all the Lead Scoring Monday content there, so you don't have to dig through LinkedIn. And as always, if you've got a lead scoring challenge that's complex, cross-functional, or just plain chaotic, DM me. You could be the next guest in the lab. So any final thoughts before we wrap up?
No, I just want to say Casey has been amazing. Casey and I connected in the channel because I had a question about how can I score off this? Can I score off this custom property? And we together figured out the answer was no.
Yes.
But you're able to take it to HubSpot and say, please fix this.
Yes. Sometimes that's the answer, unfortunately.
Sometimes I do. But Casey, you've been great. Thank you so much for being such a great part of the community
Thank
and
you.
helping me with the lead scoring and collective minds.
Collective minds. For
Yeah.
sure. Well, thank you to everyone who's joining us live today. Drop your questions in the comments. We'll both be monitoring and responding, and the recording will be available right here
And
shortly.
if you're inbound, please vote for Casey at the Super. I am rooting for you, Casey. I will
Thank
be there.
you.
And I will absolutely be voting for you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Can't wait to see you.
Yeah. If you've got a challenge for the lab, slide into my DMs. I'll be out of the office next Monday, but be sure to connect and keep seeing lead scoring content and join me back on August 4th for Lead Scoring Mondays. Until then, keep experimenting.
Live now, don't miss the score. Join the build to something smarter than before. Not just points, It's aligned to clear, better leads, better teams right here. It's Lead Scoring Monday, you know the vibe. Fixing what's broken, bringing it to life. Showdowns, labs, and quick fix flair. Casey's in the hot seat, see you there.
On the road to better scores, let's build what actually opens the door. On the road to better scores, let's build what actually opens the door.